In old age, never share these 7 things with anyone. There exists a profound sense of isolation, not born from an absence of possessions, but from the unfortunate habit of confiding too much in individuals who are ill-equipped to truly understand or safeguard one's vulnerabilities. This poignant realization often dawns upon many only in their later years, when the opportunity to alter past choices has largely elapsed. Reflecting on life's intricate tapestry, one observes countless individuals who have achieved remarkable external success, yet harbor quiet regrets deep within. There are those surrounded by large, loving families who nonetheless experience a profound, almost silent solitude in their hearts. Time and again, a fundamental truth resurfaces. Wisdom encompasses not only what we actively acquire through learning and experience, but critically, also what we learn to shield and protect. In the exuberance of youth, there is a strong, almost inherent desire to be fully understood, to have one's thoughts and feelings acknowledged and validated by others. However, as the journey of life progresses and one matures, the yearning for comprehension gently transforms into a deeper longing for inner peace and tranquility. This profound peace, it becomes clear, blossoms from the judicious understanding of what aspects of our inner world we ought to keep private, recognizing that not every thought or feeling needs to be openly shared. This discernment, a skill honed over many years, is vital for cultivating a truly serene existence. Allow me to guide you through 7 essential life lessons, 7 aspects that, particularly as one approaches the wisdom of later years, must be carefully guarded with grace, discretion, and a cultivated sense of self-preservation. Some forms of suffering in life are inherently complex and cannot be adequately explained or dismissed in a fleeting moment. They do not manifest overnight, nor do they dissipate with similar speed. Instead, they subtly embed themselves within one's being, profoundly influencing the very essence of how one communicates, how one smiles, and how one extends trust. A common misstep many individuals make, especially as they age and their experiences deepen, is the mistaken belief that by openly verbalizing their pain to everyone they encounter, its burden will somehow diminish. Yet, true healing from pain is not achieved through sheer volume of disclosure. Rather, it is nurtured through genuine understanding and careful processing. One often encounters individuals who incessantly recount their wounds, yet paradoxically remain deeply fractured. This isn't because their pain is insurmountable, but frequently because they continually offer their vulnerabilities to hands that are simply not meant to hold such sacred burdens. It is a crucial lesson that not everyone who inquires about your suffering is genuinely prepared or capable of truly empathizing with the depth of your truth. Some people may listen out of fleeting curiosity, others out of a desire for comparison, perhaps to measure their own troubles against yours. Still others might listen just long enough to gather details, only to retell your intimate story in circles or places you will never access. Pain in itself is not a sign of weakness. It serves as profound evidence that one has lived fully, loved deeply, and trusted sincerely. However, unhealed pain is exquisitely sensitive. It demands protection and careful handling. When it is exposed carelessly, it does not feel heard. Instead, it often feels violated, leaving one feeling even emptier than before, grappling with why sharing brought no relief. In such instances, bitterness can slowly yet inexorably replace trust, eroding one's capacity for genuine connection. There exists a significant distinction between healthy sharing and indiscriminate spilling. Authentic sharing occurs with a select few who possess the rare ability to listen more profoundly than they speak. These are individuals who do not rush to offer unsolicited advice, who are capable of holding your silence with empathy without feeling an immediate need to fix you. Spilling, in contrast, arises when pain pours forth from a place of desperation, seeking immediate relief rather than long-term healing. Unfortunately, desperation tends to attract an audience that is often ill-suited or even detrimental to one's true well-being. As one navigates the intricate currents of life and accumulates years, this lesson is imparted gently yet firmly. Not everyone deserves access to the most intimate chambers of your inner world. Your wounds are not public property, they are sacred spaces, and sacred spaces demand profound care and protection. Sometimes the most secure sanctuary for your pain is silence, not an empty, avoidant silence, but a rich, reflective silence. This is a space where one can engage in deep introspection, contemplation, prayer, or simply quiet processing. It's a place where one can write or even cry if the emotional release is necessary. In this profound silence, the heart is given the invaluable opportunity to reorganize itself. For true healing to occur, pain is not merely rehashed or constantly retold, but rather slowly and deeply understood, a process that requires consistent internal work and considerable personal time. There are those who, upon hearing your pain, will regrettably use it to define you. Instead of recognizing your inherent strength, they may fixate on your scars. Instead of acknowledging your growth and evolution, they may confine you to your past experiences. Once people form such a rigid perception, freezing you in what they perceive as your weakest moment, it becomes exceedingly challenging to grow beyond that limited perception in their eyes. This is precisely why wisdom, especially in later life, underscores the profound importance of emotional restraint and thoughtful self-preservation. Old age is not merely a tally of years, it is a profound journey towards clarity. And clarity, in its gentle whispers, imparts this truth. You do not require universal validation for your experiences. You do not need the sympathy or applause of a crowd to affirm your worth. Why? Because when acts of kindness or one's inherent goodness are fueled by the need for external recognition, they become fragile and dependent, easily swayed by the shifting tides of public opinion. Anything that is dependent is inherently vulnerable. True kindness, in contrast, is robust and stable. It does not waver when it goes unnoticed. It does not diminish when it is unpraised. It does not feel slighted or insulted when it is forgotten. Genuine goodness thrives in the quietude, for its most profound reward is entirely internal, a sense of peace, an experience of joy, and a deep alignment with one's core values. This internal reward requires consistent self-awareness and practice to cultivate. When one publicly announces good deeds, a subtle yet significant internal shift occurs. One inadvertently begins to measure personal value by the reactions received, the number of likes, the compliments, the expressions of gratitude. The moment these external reactions fall short of expectation, disappointment invariably creeps in. Slowly, genuine service can morph into a transaction. One begins to anticipate returns, appreciation, loyalty, reciprocal gestures. And when these expectations are not met, resentment can take root and fester. However, authentic service was never intended to keep a tally. Its value lies in the act itself. As life progresses and individuals mature, they increasingly realize that the heart grows weary of carrying the heavy burden of unfulfilled expectations. Quiet goodness is infinitely lighter. It asks for nothing in return, burdens no one, and most importantly, liberates one from the incessant need to be noticed or validated. This discipline of quiet service is a skill that saves immense emotional energy over a lifetime. There is also another crucial truth often overlooked. When good deeds are openly displayed, people may begin to scrutinize intentions, introducing doubt where purity once resided. What began as a genuinely altruistic act can be questioned, its motives suspected. What was meant to uplift and inspire can feel performative or superficial. Silence, in this context, serves as a powerful shield, protecting the sincerity of one's actions. It allows deeds to speak for themselves without the need for elaborate explanations or justifications. Consider the sun. It does not announce its impending rise, nor does it post reminders of its consistent, life-giving light. It simply appears each day, unconditionally. This unwavering consistency is precisely why it is universally trusted. In the same vein, allow your goodness to be something people genuinely feel and experience through your actions, rather than something they are merely told about. Some might argue, but if I don't speak about my good deeds, How will others learn or be inspired? The answer lies in the profound impact of behavior, which far outweighs any verbal broadcast. Example is invariably louder and more persuasive than explanation. When people directly experience kindness emanating from you, it has a transformative effect far greater than any story you could possibly narrate about yourself. In the twilight years of life, peace ascends to a higher value than mere praise. One begins to grasp that announcing good deeds inadvertently binds one to the fickle opinions of others. Silence, conversely, liberates one from these external dependencies. And this freedom, my friends, is truly priceless, allowing for effective time management of one's emotional resources. Furthermore, there is a profound spiritual dimension to this practice. When one performs good deeds quietly, without fanfare, one maintains an unbroken connection to the universal wellspring of that goodness. Ego does not interfere, pride does not interrupt, and the heart remains soft and receptive. The intention remains pristine and unblemished. Such pure intentions invite unforeseen positive outcomes and inner blessings that cannot be measured or calculated. Quiet service is a potent refiner of character. It cultivates humility and serves as a constant reminder that one is merely an instrument, not the ultimate source of the good that flows through them. Whatever virtue passes through your hands was never yours to claim credit for. It was simply yours to deliver. And one more invaluable benefit. When you cease announcing your good deeds, you begin to observe and appreciate the contributions of others more readily. The tendency to compete over who helps more, who gives more, or who sacrifices more dissipates. Comparison fades, and a spirit of cooperation flourishes. This fundamental shift alone brings an enormous sense of peace and fosters collective efficiency, which is a key aspect of broader time management. Therefore, perform good deeds generously, consistently, and sincerely, but let the accompanying noise remain external. For in the twilight years of life, when cherished memories often resonate more profoundly than fleeting words, you will discern this truth. The good you enacted quietly remained with you, nourishing your soul, while the applause you pursued noisily eventually faded and departed. This is the fundamental difference between goodness that merely adorns the ego and goodness that truly nourishes the soul. Financial matters constitute a sensitive domain, not because money itself is inherently negative, but because it starkly exposes one's true intentions, discipline, insecurities, fears, and desires, often all at once. As individuals mature, they invariably learn this lesson through direct experience, sometimes through considerable hardship. Not everyone needs to be privy to what you possess, what you earn, or what financial goals you are diligently working towards. When you openly divulge your financial details, you might believe you are being transparent or honest. However, honesty devoid of wisdom can inadvertently invite a host of unnecessary complications. Money does not merely represent numbers. It fundamentally alters dynamics within relationships. Conversations subtly shift, unstated expectations quietly begin to form, and relationships that were once based on simple connection can, without a single word being spoken, subtly transform into transactional arrangements. One often witnesses friendships weaken, not due to outright betrayal, but because of unspoken assumptions that take root. Someone might begin to scrutinize your life choices based on their perception of your wealth. Another might start questioning your boundaries or your generosity. A third might quietly resent your perceived comfort while starkly comparing it to their own struggles. None of these unfortunate dynamics would likely have emerged if a discerning silence had been maintained around financial specifics. Money is a potent form of energy, and when you expose that energy to an excessive number of opinions and external influences, it often becomes unstable and prone to distortion. Everyone, it seems, suddenly has advice, suggestions, or a firm belief that they know precisely what you should do with the resources you've acquired through your own discipline and sacrifice. Slowly, what was once a clear financial path can descend into confusion and doubt. Privacy, in this context, is not about secrecy. It is a profound act of responsibility. Just as one would diligently secure their home, one should similarly avoid leaving their financial life open for casual public discussion. This protection is a mark of wisdom, not pride. When you speak too freely about money, people may cease to perceive the effort, the discipline, and the hard work behind your achievements. Instead, they often begin to see an opportunity. Some might start expecting financial assistance, others may feel entitled to your resources, and some might even test boundaries, not necessarily because they are inherently ill-intentioned, but because human nature often responds to what is visible and perceived as accessible. Then arises another significant danger: comparison. Once financial figures are known, personal value becomes easily misread. Individuals are no longer solely seen for their intrinsic qualities or who they are, but increasingly for what they possess. You may find yourself invited or excluded from social circles for reasons that have little to do with genuine connection. This confusion ultimately erodes the sincerity and authenticity of relationships. As age adds years, simplicity becomes an increasingly cherished virtue. One no longer desires to constantly explain why they can offer assistance in one situation but not another, or to perpetually justify their financial choices. Silence graciously grants that freedom. Furthermore, there is a deep sense of inner peace that accompanies financial privacy. When fewer people are aware of your financial standing, fewer people will feel entitled to judge your decisions. When fewer people judge, fewer doubts are allowed to insinuate themselves into your mind. Confidence grows when your focus remains squarely on responsible stewardship of your resources, rather than on garnering external opinion or approval. Your financial journey is profoundly personal. It embodies your unique fears, your diligently cultivated discipline, your mistakes, and your subsequent growth. Not everyone has walked your specific path. Not everyone comprehends your deeply held values concerning money. Therefore, not everyone merits the privilege of commenting on it. There is also a profound spiritual dimension to this discipline. Wealth, whether modest or substantial, invariably carries with it a significant responsibility. When you embrace that responsibility quietly and discreetly, your sense of gratitude deepens, your contentment increases, and the influence of pride diminishes. You begin to perceive money not as a reflection of your identity, but as a valuable tool, something to be utilized wisely and strategically, rather than something to be ostentatiously displayed. Old age brings a clarity that youth often overlooks, that inner peace is worth far more than superficial transparency, that dignity is worth more than endless explanation, and that silence is frequently a safer and more judicious choice than impulsive sharing. Let your consistent work and diligent effort speak for themselves. Let your financial stability reflect your hard-won discipline. Let your generosity remain dignified and discreet, because ultimately true prosperity is not measured by how much people know you possess, but by the profound calmness your heart maintains while responsibly managing it. This is a crucial skill in navigating the complexities of modern life and ensuring peace of mind. Fear possesses a peculiar characteristic. The moment it is articulated aloud to an unsuitable confidant, it has a tendency to amplify. What might have begun as a fleeting concern can suddenly solidify into a perceived certainty. What was once a tentative question in one's mind can transform into a heavy, almost inevitable prediction. This is precisely why wisdom instructs us to exercise extreme caution with our fears, particularly those deeply intertwined with future uncertainties. A vast majority of our fears are, in essence, imagined conversations with a future that has yet to materialize. They effectively borrow trouble from tomorrow and demand a crippling payment today in the form of anxiety and stress. When you begin to indiscriminately share these imagined potential outcomes with everyone around you, those nascent fears receive undue attention, agreement, and reinforcement from others. They consequently settle deeper into the recesses of your mind, becoming more entrenched and harder to dislodge. As individuals mature, they come to realize that not everyone possesses the emotional intelligence or capacity to respond to fear in a responsible or helpful manner. Some people, perhaps unintentionally, magnify it. Others may catastrophize, projecting their own anxieties and past disappointments onto your life situation. Suddenly, your fear is no longer solely your own. It becomes a shared burden, echoing back to you in even louder and more distressing tones. Fear does not require an audience. It demands discernment and wise internal processing. There's a profound reason why spiritual traditions across diverse cultures consistently emphasize values like hope, trust, and surrender. It's not because uncertainty magically disappears, but because the incessant discussion of fear keeps the mind perpetually trapped in a cycle of anticipating what might go wrong rather than contemplating what could go right. Repeated, fear-focused conversations gradually train the heart to expect loss and hardship, diminishing one's capacity for resilient hope. Consider fear as a small spark. In the calming presence of wisdom and thoughtful reflection, it tends to fade and extinguish. However, in the presence of too much oxygen, metaphorically, too much unhelpful discussion, that spark can quickly ignite into a raging fire. Speaking to the wrong people effectively provides that oxygen. This cautionary advice does not imply that one should deny reality or suppress genuine concerns. Rather, it emphasizes the critical importance of choosing where and with whom reality is discussed. Share your concerns with individuals who bring a sense of calm and perspective, not those who introduce chaos or amplify distress. Confide in people who gently remind you of your responsibilities and inherent strengths, not just the potential risks. Seek out voices that genuinely strengthen your courage instead of feeding your anxieties. Old age imparts another gentle yet profound truth. Many of the fears that consume us throughout life never actually materialize, yet the persistent stress and worry of carrying them can steal years of precious peace and well-being. When one reflects retrospectively, it becomes astonishingly clear how much valuable energy and time were squandered worrying about things that ultimately resolved themselves or never happened at all. Silence can serve as an invaluable shield against this internal drain. When you refrain from constantly voicing your fears, your mind remains more open to possibilities and creative solutions. Creativity stays alive, and confidence is allowed to breathe and flourish. Problems are then approached practically and logically, rather than being clouded by overwhelming emotion. There is also a quiet dignity in maintaining composure. When people consistently hear about your worries, they may, perhaps unconsciously, begin to perceive you through the lens of anxiety. They might start doubting your underlying strength and capabilities, even when you are perfectly capable of handling challenges. Protecting your fears, therefore, also protects your image and credibility. Not for the sake of ego, but for the preservation of your reputation as a capable and resilient individual. There is also deep spiritual discipline inherent in this practice. Faith is not the absence of fear. Rather, it is the conscious choice to trust in the presence of uncertainty. Every time you consciously refrain from feeding fear with verbal expression, you are actively strengthening an internal muscle of trust and resilience. Old age, among its many lessons, teaches the vital importance of conserving one's energy. One learns to judiciously invest it in pursuits that build and uplift, rather than those that drain and diminish. Carrying your fears politely, responsibly, and quietly allows you to move forward without being unduly weighed down by imagined or uncertain futures, thereby optimizing your mental and emotional time management. Pray over your fears if that is your inclination. Write them down if the act of externalizing helps you process them. Reflect on them privately and deeply. Take decisive action where action is clearly needed and possible. But resist the temptation to scatter your fears everywhere, hoping that someone else will magically solve them for you, because true courage grows most robustly in the silence of self-confrontation. Strength matures through the discipline of restraint, and a profound abiding peace visits those who learn that not every fear deserves to be spoken aloud. Some are simply meant to be outgrown through quiet fortitude and consistent self-work. Family is the primal crucible where emotions are forged. often long before language develops the capacity to fully articulate or control them. This inherent intimacy is precisely why conflicts within families often feel far deeper and more acutely painful than any other type of disagreement. They touch upon core aspects of identity, deep-seated memories, and one's fundamental sense of belonging. Because these conflicts wound more profoundly, people frequently make the error of discussing them widely, mistakenly believing that relief will come through external sympathy or validation. However, what usually follows such indiscretion is typically further damage rather than genuine healing. When family conflicts are openly discussed in public forums or with casual acquaintances, they cease to be mere problems requiring resolution and instead transform into narratives. Outsiders hear only one side of the story, readily form opinions, and those opinions, once solidified, tend to stick persistently. Even if genuine reconciliation later occurs within the family, those external labels and judgments often remain. Words once released into the public sphere are notoriously difficult to retract or erase. As individuals grow older, they realize that not every truth, however raw or valid, needs to be exposed to external witnesses. Some truths require profound protection. Family disputes, in particular, demand dignity and discretion, not open discussion. They involve individuals with whom you may have deep disagreements, yet with whom you fundamentally share an unbreakable lineage and roots. And roots, even when momentarily tangled or strained, should never be severed or publicly exposed. Publicizing family issues invites judgment from people who will never genuinely bear the emotional consequences or live with the aftermath. They comment freely and often irresponsibly because they are not emotionally invested in the long-term well-being of your family unit. But you, and only you, must live with the lingering effects of their advice or their casual pronouncements. Their words will eventually fade, but your strained relationships often remain. There is also a subtle, often unconscious, betrayal in oversharing intimate family matters. What might feel like an act of honesty in the moment of pain can, in hindsight, become an act of profound exposure. Even when one is deeply hurt, loyalty and respect still matter, especially when emotions are highly charged. Silence in these sensitive situations is not a form of suppression, it is an act of profound wisdom. It thoughtfully creates a much-needed space for cooling reflection and allows for a more careful, measured response. When conflicts are carefully contained within safe, internal boundaries, solutions remain viable and within reach. When they are broadcast widely, pride often enters the equation, rigid sides are formed, and the path to reconciliation becomes exponentially harder and longer. As the years accumulate, individuals increasingly begin to prioritize peace and harmony over the fleeting satisfaction of being right in an argument. One learns that winning an argument at the cost of losing a cherished relationship is a fundamentally poor exchange. Quiet conversations conducted behind closed doors tend to heal wounds far more rapidly and effectively than loud public explanations or debates. Family conflicts handled privately also serve to preserve one's self-respect and the collective dignity of the family. When you refrain from sharing exhaustive details, you demonstrate emotional maturity and self-control. Others will perceive restraint and thoughtfulness rather than impulsive reaction. That quiet restraint over time fosters a deeper trust, even from those with whom you might fundamentally disagree. There is also a powerful dimension of compassion in privacy. In the immediate throes of pain, you might speak impulsively. Tomorrow, however, you may deeply regret having been so transparent. Silence acts as a protective shield against future remorse. The healing process itself often accelerates when you are not simultaneously attempting to manage a myriad of external opinions alongside your intense internal emotions. Old age teaches the invaluable skill of patience. You cease rushing into reactive responses and begin to meticulously choose your timing for difficult conversations. You come to understand that some offenses over time can fade with quiet understanding and gentle restraint. If a trusted confidant must be chosen, select someone who inherently honors confidentiality, someone whose primary objective is resolution and healing, not entertainment or gossip. Choose someone who profoundly understands that family wounds are delicate and must be handled with the utmost care and respect. Because at the very end of life's journey, titles, petty arguments, and elaborate explanations lose their significance. What truly endures are relationships, and relationships, above all else, survive and thrive best when vigilantly protected from unnecessary and damaging exposure. Not every pain demands an audience. Some require the cultivation of maturity, some demand the quietude of silence, and some simply need the healing balm of time, consistently applied. New plans, in their initial stages, are inherently fragile. They are akin to freshly sown seeds, recently placed into fertile soil, brimming with immense potential, yet not yet robust enough to withstand the harsh onslaught of unpredictable weather. One of the most common errors individuals make, particularly later in life after having gained experience, is prematurely sharing their next significant move, too early, too widely, and too casually. When you speak about your plans before they have had the chance to mature and solidify, you inadvertently invite a torrent of unnecessary noise. External opinions and unsolicited advice arrive before your own clarity has fully formed. Doubts and uncertainties begin to creep in before your discipline and commitment have had a chance to firmly settle. People, often with good intentions, still carry their own fears, past experiences, and limitations, and these can subtly influence their counsel. What genuinely excites and motivates you may, paradoxically, trigger their own anxieties or sense of threat. What represents an exhilarating challenge for you might instill fear in them. And suddenly, your once clear vision begins to wobble and falter under the weight of external input, consuming precious mental time and energy. Old age brings with it a profound wisdom concerning timing. You learn that not everything demands an immediate or elaborate explanation. Some plans, like the nascent seed, require the quietude of silence to truly take root and grow strong. Energy expended in over-explaining is energy directly siphoned away from the vital task of execution. A divided focus invariably leads to delayed progress. This is a critical lesson in effective time management for personal projects. There is also a subtle yet powerful psychological shift that occurs when one discusses plans too extensively. The mind, unfortunately, can derive a premature sense of accomplishment and progress simply from the act of sharing. You receive encouragement, attention, and validation, and this immediate emotional reward can subtly, almost imperceptibly, replace the actual effort required for action. You might feel accomplished without having actually built or achieved anything tangible. Silence, on the other hand, keeps the hunger and motivation alive when plans are kept private. It intensifies a sense of personal responsibility, as there is no external audience to impress, no immediate pressure to perform for approval. There is only the unwavering commitment to the task, and commitment is what truly strengthens character and builds resilience, a vital skill for long-term success. Many individuals carry the lingering scars of plans that were publicly announced with great fanfare, but were never ultimately completed. The embarrassment often persists, and the endless explanations can be emotionally exhausting. Silence in such cases would have gracefully protected one's dignity and emotional energy. As the years pass, people naturally begin to value concrete results over fleeting recognition. They judge less by what was promised and significantly more by what was actually delivered. One learns to move quietly, steadily, and with unshakable confidence. There is profound wisdom in allowing success to announce itself through its demonstrable outcomes. Results speak with undeniable authority. They require no defensive posturing, no elaborate justifications, and no convoluted clarifications. Spiritual maturity also fosters this invaluable restraint. Not everyone, one learns, is destined to accompany you into the next significant chapter of your journey. Some individuals belong to past seasons of your life, When you share plans prematurely, you inadvertently bind yourself to opinions and expectations derived from chapters that are already in the process of closing. Quiet progress, conversely, generates immense freedom. Freedom from external expectations, freedom from undue pressure, and freedom from the corrosive effects of comparison. If genuine guidance is truly needed, seek it from one or two deeply trusted minds, mentors who speak with practical experience and thoughtful insight rather than impulsive emotion. Seek counsel that sharpens your plan, making it more robust rather than clouding it with unnecessary complexities. Old age is not about a general slowing down. It is about the refinement of movement and purpose. You cease sprinting with grand announcements and instead begin to walk with quiet, unwavering certainty. Let your plans breathe, allow them to strengthen through diligent effort, and let them prove themselves in the quiet crucible of consistent action. Because with the passage of time, you will inevitably discover this profound truth. Dreams that are merely explained often fade, but plans that are quietly and consistently built will endure and flourish, a testament to effective time management and unwavering consistency. As the years unfurl, one of the clearest and most elegant indicators of genuine wisdom is the practice of restraint. This is not the kind of restraint that stifles authentic expression, but rather the kind that consciously preserves inner power and vital energy. There comes a significant stage in life when you realize that merely possessing more knowledge does not inherently obligate you to articulate more. In fact, some of the most centered, serene, and profoundly peaceful individuals are precisely those who speak very little about the deep understanding they truly possess. Early in life, we often mistakenly equate intelligence with overt expression. We tend to believe that if we know something, we are duty-bound to share it. If we perceive ourselves to be correct, we feel compelled to prove it. If we possess a particular insight, there's a strong urge to immediately correct others. However, the gentle hand of age imparts a different, more nuanced lesson. Wisdom, when exposed too frequently or indiscriminately, often becomes wasted energy, achieving little beyond self-gratification. Not every truth, however profound, requires an audience. Some truths are best assimilated and applied as quiet internal companions, guiding principles that inform one's actions rather than one's pronouncements. When you articulate every thought you possess, you frequently invite unnecessary argument where calm could have prevailed, foster ego where humility is needed, and generate resistance where quiet reflection might have been more beneficial. People, it is often observed, rarely genuinely accept wisdom when they have not explicitly sought it. More often, they feel challenged by it, threatened by it, or become defensive in its presence. Suddenly, something intended to be helpful or insightful becomes a source of division or discord. Old age brings a clarifying focus on inner peace. You begin to consciously choose silence, not because you lack anything valuable to contribute, but because you prioritize harmony and tranquility more than the transient satisfaction of being proven right. You come to understand that constantly correcting others' perspectives rarely improves their lives, but almost invariably disturbs your own precious peace. There is immense power in knowing precisely when to step back, in allowing others the essential space and opportunity to learn their own lessons, much in the same way you yourself had to learn, through direct experience and personal realization. Advice offered at an inopportune moment does not transform into wisdom. It merely becomes a bothersome noise. When you purposefully cease sharing every piece of knowledge you possess, your capacity for listening profoundly improves. Your understanding of others deepens. Your humility flourishes. You realize that the journey of learning is an endless one, and even silence itself can impart profound lessons, often more impactful than words. Furthermore, there is a profound safety inherent in restraint. Knowledge, when shared without adequate context or a receptive audience, can easily be misunderstood, misused, or even openly mocked. Silence in these instances protects your intellectual integrity and preserves the depth of your insights. Spiritual maturity actively encourages this discipline. It gently reminds us that the ego derives pleasure from conspicuously displaying knowledge, whereas the soul finds its deepest resonance and wisdom in stillness and quiet contemplation. The more aligned one becomes internally, the less one feels the compulsive need to prove oneself externally. Old age refines the art of speech, making words intentional and precious. You speak when your words can genuinely heal. You speak when they can truly serve a beneficial purpose. You speak when your message is clearly welcomed and received. And when you choose not to speak, you do not feel weak or diminished. You experience a profound sense of liberation and freedom. Because ultimately, wisdom is not measured by the sheer volume of what you articulate, but by the profound measure of peace you consistently carry within your heart, a testament to a lifetime of cultivating this essential skill. When all these invaluable lessons converge and are consciously integrated, something truly transformative and beautiful begins to unfold within you. You start to navigate life with a newfound lightness, less burdened by the need for constant explanation, less dependent on the fleeting approval of others, and less wounded by the incessant noise and opinions of the external world. Old age does not, in fact, diminish your strength. It refines and enhances your selectivity. You become discerning with your words, selective with the company you keep, and highly judicious with the allocation of your precious energy. You cease striving to be universally understood by everyone and instead redirect that energy towards cultivating a profound sense of peace within yourself. You come to the powerful realization that silence is not an emptiness, but a hallmark of maturity. Privacy is not a form of hiding, but an act of profound wisdom. And restraint is not a manifestation of fear, but an undeniable indicator of inner strength. You learn that life is not about impulsively articulating every feeling you experience or exhaustively proving every piece of knowledge you possess. Rather, it is fundamentally about protecting what truly matters most: your inner peace, your inherent dignity, and your connection with a higher universal force or one's deepest spiritual awareness. When you diligently guard your pain, your acts of goodness, your financial well-being, your fears, your family matters, your personal plans, and your cultivated wisdom, you are not retreating from life. On the contrary, you are honoring it in its most profound sense. And here is the timeless truth I wish for you to carry forward. The older you become, the less you will feel the need to explain yourself to others. Those who are genuinely meant to walk alongside you on your life's journey will understand your essence without the need for endless words. And those who do not understand, or choose not to, were simply never meant to accompany you to such profound depths. Live your life quietly, serve sincerely and consistently, and trust deeply in the unfolding process of existence. Because in the ultimate reckoning, a peaceful heart is the most invaluable wealth any human being can ever possess or carry. As you step forward from this pivotal moment, remember this one simple, timeless truth. Life is not demanding that you be loud or ostentatious. Instead, it is gently urging you to be aligned with your core values, aligned with your inherent spiritual awareness, and aligned with that quiet, intuitive voice that speaks softly within you even as the external world grows increasingly noisy and demanding. You do not need to meticulously explain your unique journey to everyone you encounter. You do not need to perpetually defend your moments of silence or your choices of privacy. You do not need external approval to live a life of profound integrity. What you diligently protect and guard today will inevitably become your foundational strength tomorrow. What you nurture and cultivate in quietude will grow exponentially in power and influence. And what you place in the hands of destiny or a higher universal force will never truly collapse under the weight of fickle human opinion. Therefore, choose your words with immense intention. Choose your social circles with profound wisdom and discernment. Choose faith over debilitating fear, unwavering discipline over fleeting distraction, and lasting peace over superficial performance. And when a door of opportunity opens for you, walk through it with genuine humility. When life inevitably tests your resolve, stand firm quietly, yet with unyielding resilience. When success, in its due course, finds you, bow your head in humble gratitude. Go forth and live a life so deeply grounded, so unyieldingly sincere, and so profoundly centered in your own truth, that even in your profound silence, your very existence becomes a powerful, resonant message to the world. If this message has deeply resonated with your heart, do not merely listen to it, embody it. Carry its wisdom into your daily choices, integrate it into your most cherished relationships, and let it consistently guide your path.